The night was silent in the endless dark of space. The stars glowed softly, scattered across the black ocean. A single human ship, the Horizon, moved slowly near the edge of the Orion Belt. It was not a warship, just a science vessel, carrying explorers, engineers, and researchers. They were returning from a long mission, tired but happy. None of them knew that something was watching them. Captain Ryan Holt stood at the main deck, looking out the glass window. He loved the quiet of space, the calm before anything happened. "We'll reach Earth in 3 days," said Commander Sarah. "Crew's ready for rest." Ryan smiled faintly. They deserve it. But deep inside, a strange feeling grew in his chest. Like something was wrong. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped sharply. A red light flashed across the control panel. "Unknown signals detected," said the AI voice. Sarah frowned. "No ships in this region, right?" Ryan shook his head. "None, not even cargo routes." The radar showed movement, fast, precise, surrounding them. Then it happened. Out of the darkness, 6 alien ships appeared, forming a circle around the horizon. Their metallic bodies shined cold blue under starlight. "Identify yourself," Ryan ordered through the comms. No answer. Only a deep static hum filled the bridge. The alien ships began to glow, charging weapons. "Shields up!" Ryan shouted. The ship's engines roared, power systems activating. The first shot came like thunder in silence. A bright beam tore through the void, hitting the Horizon's side. The shockwave threw crew members off their feet. "Hull breach on deck 4, someone yelled. Alarms screamed across the ship. The lights flickered and smoke filled the air. Ryan grabbed the console, trying to stabilize the systems. "Return fire." But the Horizon was not built for war. Their defense lasers were weak, meant only to scare off pirates. The alien ships moved like predators, fast, merciless. Another hit slammed the ship, breaking parts of the engine. "We can't take another shot," cried the engineer. "Who are they?" Sarah shouted, scanning the symbols on the enemy hulls. "I've never seen this kind before." Ryan narrowed his eyes. "They're not pirates. This is military formation." The realization hit him hard. This was not random. It was an ambush. The alien leader appeared on the comm screen for just a moment. A tall creature with silver skin and black eyes like glass. It spoke in a cold voice. "Humans have grown too bold. The galaxy must be reminded of its order." Then the screen went black. "Evacuate the research data," Ryan commanded. "We can't let them get it." The crew rushed to backup drives, sending information to hidden transmitters. The ship shook again as another blast hit. "They're targeting the reactors," Sarah yelled. Ryan gritted his teeth. "They want us destroyed, not captured." Fire spread through the corridors. Crew members shouted and ran for escape pods. Ryan refused to leave the bridge. "Captain, we have to go." Sarah pulled his arm. "Not yet," he said. "Send a distress signal to command. Tell them who attacked us." The communication line sparked, full of static. "Signal's weak, but it might reach," Sarah said, pressing send. Outside, the alien ships circled like vultures. One more hit and the Horizon began to break apart. Metal screamed. Debris floated into the void. Ryan looked at the burning control room. His ship. His crew, his family. He took a deep breath and whispered, "You made a mistake attacking a human ship." Then he pressed the emergency beacon, sending the final signal toward Earth, before the explosion consumed everything. The Horizon vanished in a flash of white light, its fragments spreading across the stars. For a while, the universe was silent again. The alien fleet turned away, believing their job was done. But far across space, on Earth's command base, a small red light began to blink. The message was received, partially damaged but still alive. The transmission carried one line of data. It read, "Human ship attacked by unknown species. No survivors." Captain Ryan Holt's last words, "They will regret this." And with that, the story of vengeance began. Humanity had been challenged, and the universe was about to learn what that truly meant. The message from the Horizon reached Earth 3 days later. It came broken, full of static and missing data, but it was enough. The moment the command center decoded the signal, silence filled the entire room. Officers stared at the screen as Captain Ryan Holt's final words echoed again. "They will regret this." Admiral Cole, head of the Earth Defense Command, stood still. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold. "Whoever they are," he said slowly, "they just started a war. Around him, the command center came alive. Screens lit up. Ships were called back. Fleets began to move. Humanity had been quiet for many years, focused on peace and science. But deep inside every human heart, there still lived a warrior's fire, and now it was awake. Far above Earth, inside Orbital Station Titan, Commander Sarah Vega watched the stars. She had served with Captain Holt years ago. When she heard his ship was destroyed, she clenched her fists. "They killed good people," she whispered. "I won't let it go." She turned to her crew. "Prepare the Valiant. We are going hunting." The Valiant was a heavy human destroyer, built for war but never used in one. Its black armor gleamed like obsidian. As it launched from the station, engines flared bright blue. Across the system, more ships joined, frigates, cruisers, and carriers, all answering the silent call of vengeance. In the strategy room, Admiral Cole studied the recovered data. The aliens were not pirates or random raiders. They belonged to a species unknown in human records. Their language and technology were far beyond anything seen before. "They wanted to erase us," Cole said. "They attacked without warning, without reason." He looked at Sarah. "Find them. Find out why, and make them understand what happens when you touch a human ship." Sarah nodded. "Yes, sir." The Valiant jumped into hyperspace, tracing the faint energy trail left by the attackers. The crew was tense. Everyone had seen the footage, the burning ship, the screams, the final light. Now they wanted justice. Hours later, they arrived near the edge of known space where the signal had first appeared. The stars here were dim, hidden by thick nebular clouds. "Scanners active," said Lieutenant Ray. "I'm picking up wreckage ahead." The image appeared, a broken piece of the horizon floating silently. The crew fell quiet. The fragment carried the burned symbol of Earth Command. Sarah placed her hand on the glass. "We'll bring them home," she said softly. Then the sensors beeped again. "Wait, something's moving." From behind the wreck, 3 small ships appeared. Not human. Same design as the attackers. "Targets confirmed," Ray said. "Should we engage?" Sarah's voice turned cold. "No, we follow. Let's see where they came from." The alien ships sped into the dark nebula, unaware that the Valiant followed. For hours they moved deeper, until the human crew saw it. A massive structure hidden inside the clouds. A fortress, floating in space, surrounded by dozens of alien warships. "My God," Ray whispered. "That's their base." Sarah stared at it, her heart pounding. "So this is where they came from." She opened a secure channel to Earth Command. "We found them. Sending coordinates." Before she could send the message, alarm screamed. They spotted us. The alien fortress activated, hundreds of lights glowing across its surface. Ships began to turn toward the Valiant. "Evasive maneuvers!" Sarah shouted. The destroyer twisted through the void as enemy fire lit up space. Explosions rocked the hull. "Shields holding at 60%, Ray reported. Sarah gritted her teeth. "Prepare counterfire. Show them what humans can do." The Valiant's cannons roared, launching blue plasma rounds that ripped through the nearest alien ship. It exploded in bright flames. Another followed. But there were too many. The fortress continued to pour fire, pushing them back. "Commander, we can't win this fight," yelled the tactical officer. "We need to jump out." Sarah hesitated. Her eyes burned with anger. "No, not yet." She looked at the massive fortress glowing with alien power. "Record everything. I want them to know we saw their face." As the Valiant turned and jumped into hyperspace, the aliens continued firing, but their shots missed. The ship escaped, damaged but alive. When they reached safe space, Sarah stood before her crew. "They think they can scare us," she said. "They don't understand who we are. Humans don't run forever. We learn, we adapt, and we strike back harder." She looked out at the stars where the horizon had died. "This is not the end," she whispered. "It's the beginning." And as her words echoed through the ship, Earth's fleets began to move. War drums of humanity were beating once again, and the universe was about to remember why no one should ever dare attack a human ship. The Valiant drifted in silence after the hyperspace jump. The crew worked quickly to repair the damage from the last battle. Sparks flew across the engineering deck as broken circuits were replaced and hull cracks sealed. Everyone was tired, but the fire in their hearts was stronger than fear. They had seen the enemy's face, and now they wanted revenge. Commander Sarah Vega stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the glowing stars outside. "Status report," she said calmly. "Engines stable, shields at 70%, replied Lieutenant Ray, "but weapons are low. We can't fight a full fleet again without resupply." Sarah nodded slowly. "Then we hunt smarter, not harder." Admiral Cole's voice came through the comm line. "Commander Vega, your report reached us." "Excellent work. You've confirmed the location of the enemy base. Now listen carefully. We can't risk open war yet. Your mission is to track them, learn their strength, and find a weakness. We'll prepare the fleet for when you call us." Sarah replied, "Understood, Admiral. We'll find out who they are and how to break them." The line went silent, leaving only the low hum of the engines. For the next 2 days, the Valiant followed faint energy trails left by the alien fleet. They learned that the attackers belonged to a powerful species known as the Xylar Dominion, a cold ancient empire that ruled parts of the galaxy through fear. For centuries they had stayed away from human space, until now. No one knew why they attacked the horizon, but one thing was clear: they wanted to send a message. Sarah gathered her officers in the briefing room. Their holographic map flickered to life, showing the Dominion's territories. "They control more than 40 systems," she said. "Their fleets are massive, but they're not used to resistance. They conquer weak worlds quickly and brutally. They don't expect anyone to fight back." Her second-in-command, Ray, frowned. "So they think humans are weak too?" Sarah gave a thin smile. "They'll learn the truth soon." As the Valiant continued deeper into uncharted space, they intercepted a distress signal. It was faint, coming from a nearby moon. "It's human!" shouted the comm officer. Sarah's eyes widened. "Open the channel." Through static, a weak voice spoke. "This is Escape Pod Delta. Survivors from the horizon. Need help." The crew froze. Survivors? Everyone had believed the ship was destroyed completely. Sarah didn't wait. "Set course for the signal." Minutes later, the Valiant descended near the icy surface of the moon. The crew scanned for life signs. 3 survivors detected, Ray said, "but their pods are damaged." A landing team rushed to the surface. Cold winds howled across the frozen plains as they found the escape pods buried under ice. Inside, weak but alive, were 2 engineers and 1 officer. Lieutenant Mason, who had served under Captain Ryan Holt. When he saw Sarah, he tried to stand but stumbled. "You came," he whispered. Sarah knelt beside him. "We thought everyone was gone." Mason's voice shook. "The aliens didn't just attack. They boarded us. They took something from the horizon before it exploded, a data core. Captain Holt sent us away so they wouldn't get everything." Sarah frowned. "What was in that data?" "Coordinates," Mason said. "A discovery from the Orion Belt. Something powerful. We found an ancient signal there, an artifact hidden deep in an asteroid. The captain wanted to study it. The aliens wanted to steal it." Sarah's eyes darkened. "So this wasn't just an attack. It was a theft. They brought the survivors back to the Valiant. As soon as they entered orbit, the sensors beeped again. 'Enemy ships approaching,' Ray shouted. 'They found us.' 3 Xylar interceptors dropped out of hyperspace, weapons armed." Sarah didn't hesitate. "Battle stations." The Valiant turned sharply, engines roaring. The first alien ship fired, missing narrowly. "Return fire," Sarah ordered. Twin plasma cannons blazed, striking the enemy's flank. The alien ship exploded in a ball of blue light. The second and third ships circled fast, but the human crew was faster. The Valiant released decoys, confusing their tracking systems. "Lock missiles," Sarah said, "now." 2 missiles launched, streaking through the void before hitting both targets. Twin explosions lit up the sky. The bridge cheered, but Sarah raised her hand. "Stay sharp. If they found us, more will come." Mason, still weak, stepped onto the bridge. "Commander, Captain Holt had one last message for you." Before the ship went down, he said, "If they take the artifact, the whole galaxy will burn." Sarah stared at him, silent. The weight of his words filled the room. She turned to Ray. "We're changing course. Set our path to the Orion Belt. If that artifact is real, we need to find it before they do." Ray hesitated. "Commander, that's deep inside Dominion space." "I know," she said quietly, "but Captain Holt died for that secret. We owe it to him, and to every human, to finish what he started." The Valiant turned toward the stars once again, engines glowing brighter than ever. The hunt had truly begun. Humanity was no longer running. They were chasing the enemy now. And somewhere in the darkness the artifact waited, its secret ready to decide the fate of the entire galaxy. The Valiant moved through the black sea of space, silent and determined. Every light on the ship was dimmed, every signal shielded. They were deep inside Xylar Dominion territory now, enemy space where a single mistake could mean death. Commander Sarah Vega stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the glowing map before her. "The Orion Belt is ahead," said Lieutenant Ray. "Signal distortion is heavy." "But we're reading strong energy spikes coming from Sector 9, Sarah nodded. "That's where the artifact is. Bring us in quietly. No transmissions, no external pings. We move like ghosts." The ship slipped into the misty nebula clouds of the Orion Belt. Strange colors shimmered outside the windows, green and blue gases twisting like fog. Static filled the comms as radiation from the nebula interfered with sensors. Mason, the survivor from the horizon, stood beside Sarah. His face was pale, still recovering from his injuries. "Captain Holt found the signal somewhere in this field," he said. "He said it wasn't natural, it felt alive," Sarah frowned. "Alive," he nodded. He believed it was a machine, but not built by any known species. Something ancient, older than the Xylar, maybe older than humanity itself. The words hung heavy in the air. The idea of an ancient power hidden in this lonely corner of space made everyone uneasy. "Commander," Ray called out suddenly, "we've got something. Faint signal, low frequency, but it's matching the data from the horizon." "Put it on screen," Sarah ordered. A massive asteroid appeared, dark, silent and covered with strange markings glowing faint blue. Around it floated the remains of old ships, human, alien, and others unrecognizable. "It's like a graveyard," someone whispered. Sarah stared at it. "That's it. The artifact is inside that rock." The Valiant approached slowly. "Send a probe," Sarah said. The small drone flew out and entered a narrow opening in the asteroid. Its camera feed flickered, showing tunnels lined with strange metal patterns. Then the signal cut out. "Probe lost," said Ray. "Something shut it down." Sarah took a deep breath. "Prepare an away team." "I'm going down there myself." Ray looked at her sharply. "Commander, it's too dangerous." "That's exactly why I have to go," she interrupted. "If this thing is what Captain Holt died for, I need to see it with my own eyes." Minutes later, Sarah and 4 crew members landed on the asteroid's surface in a small shuttle. The ground was rough, like glass and stone fused together. The strange markings glowed softly under their boots, pulsing like a heartbeat. "Radiation levels are high but stable," said Dr. Lin, the science officer. "This place feels wrong." They moved deeper into the tunnel. The walls shimmered with patterns that seemed to move on their own. As they reached the main chamber, the light grew brighter, coming from a massive floating sphere in the center. It was black, smooth, and covered in shifting symbols that looked almost human. But not quite. Sarah stared at it in awe. "That's the artifact." Mason's voice trembled. "Captain Holt said it reacted to human DNA. It only activates for us." Sarah stepped closer, ignoring the static in her comms. "Activate scanner," she said. As soon as her scanner beam touched the sphere, the entire chamber trembled. The glowing symbols shifted, forming words in English across the surface. "Creation protocol, human access confirmed." The crew froze. "It's responding to us," Dr. Lin gasped. Suddenly, beams of light shot out from the artifact, forming a holographic image of the galaxy. Points of light connected across the map, showing hundreds of systems. One section glowed red, the heart of the Xylar Dominion. Sarah looked at it, confused. "What does it mean?" Before anyone could answer, their radios crackled. "Commander Vega, this is Valiant." "Multiple enemy ships inbound." "They found us!" Sarah clenched her jaw. "We're out of time. Mason, record everything from this projection." As Mason began copying the data, the ground shook again. The artifact pulsed harder, sending out a massive energy wave that blasted through the asteroid. Back on the Valiant, alarms screamed. "Energy surge! It's spreading through the nebula!" shouted Ray. The wave spread like a storm, disabling nearby Xylar ships as it moved. Their systems shut down instantly, floating dead in space. "What the hell is that?" one of the crew whispered. On the asteroid, Sarah and her team ran toward the shuttle as debris began to fall. The artifact glowed brighter than ever, like a living sun awakening after ages of sleep. They barely made it back to the shuttle and blasted off. As they escaped the asteroid's orbit, The artifact released one final burst of light that spread through the stars. "Commander," Mason said breathlessly, "whatever that thing is. It just marked us. It knows we're human." Sarah looked out the window, watching the energy pulse vanish into the distance. "Then the galaxy knows we're coming," she said quietly. When they returned to the Valiant, the crew was shaken but alive. They had discovered something beyond imagination, something powerful and possibly dangerous. Sarah stood before the glowing hologram recorded from the artifact. It showed a message now written in ancient human script. The builders wait for their children to return. No one understood what it meant. But one thing was clear. The artifact wasn't just a weapon. It was a message. And as Sarah looked out into the stars, she knew the Xylar Dominion had made a terrible mistake. They had awakened something far older, far greater and far more dangerous than themselves. Humanity was no longer the hunted. The real war was about to begin. The Valiant moved through the dark void like a silent blade. Every crew member aboard knew what was coming. The time for hiding was over. Humanity had been struck, humiliated, and nearly forgotten by the galaxy. But now they had something powerful, something ancient. The artifact's energy had awakened across space, and with it humanity's wrath. Commander Sarah Vega stood at the bridge window, looking out at the stars. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with purpose. "Status report," she said. "Engines full power, weapons ready," replied Lieutenant Ray. "Fleet Command is online and waiting for your signal." Sarah nodded. "Then let's begin." She turned toward the comms station. "Open a secure channel to Earth Command." Admiral Cole's image appeared on the screen, his voice deep and steady. "Commander Vega, we received your data." The artifact's signal spread across half the galaxy. "The Xylar Dominion is in chaos. Their systems are shutting down one by one. Whatever that thing did, it hit them hard." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Good, then this is our chance," Cole nodded. "Agreed, Operation Phoenix is approved. All fleets are mobilizing. You'll lead the first strike. We are taking the fight to them." The crew on the bridge straightened in pride. The room filled with quiet energy, determined, cold, focused. Humanity's fleets had been silent for years, but now hundreds of ships were awakening from orbiting stations across the solar system. Destroyers, carriers, frigates, and stealth cruisers, all bearing the same emblem, a silver star on black. The Valiant led the way. Sarah watched as hundreds of human warships gathered in formation. "Admiral, target?" she asked. Cole's voice turned iron hard. "Strike their outer fortress in the Vega sector, the same base that destroyed the Horizon. Make it a message. No mercy." Sarah's jaw tightened. "Understood." The human fleet jumped into hyperspace, streaking through the void like arrows of light. Minutes later, they emerged near the Xylar stronghold. The alien fortress loomed huge and silent, guarded by dozens of warships. "Enemy sensors active," Ray reported. "They see us." "Good," Sarah said. "Let them." The comms lit up with alien voices, their language cold and mechanical. One translated message broke through. "Leave this place, humans." "You don't belong here." Sarah's voice was steady. "We belonged the moment you attacked us." Then she gave the order. "All ships, fire." The void exploded into light. Thousands of plasma beams and missiles lit up the darkness. Human ships moved with deadly precision, their formation tight and coordinated. The Xylar fired back, their energy weapons cutting through space, but this time humanity was ready. The Valiant's shields flared as beams hit, but Sarah didn't flinch. "Target their command ship," she ordered. "Full power to forward cannons." The ship's guns roared, firing bright blue energy that tore through the alien flagship. It broke apart in a fiery explosion that echoed across the battlefield. On every screen, alien ships began to fall. Human fighters darted between them, striking engines and weak points. For the first time in history, the Xylar were losing. Ray grinned. "They're breaking formation." "Push forward!" Sarah shouted. "Don't let them regroup." The human fleet advanced like a storm. Ship after ship exploded, and the alien fortress began to crumble under the relentless assault. Inside, the Xylar commanders shouted in confusion, unable to believe that the humans they had once dismissed as weak could fight with such fury. Sarah's voice echoed across the comms. "This is for Captain Ryan Holt. This is for the Horizon." The Valiant's main cannon charged one final time. The beam hit the heart of the alien fortress, and in an instant, it detonated in a massive burst of light. The explosion spread across the field, tearing the structure apart. "Enemy base destroyed," Ray reported. His voice was quiet, almost reverent. The bridge fell silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, the crew began to cheer. Humanity had won its first major victory against the Dominion, but Sarah's eyes stayed on the burning wreckage. "This isn't the end," she said softly. "They'll come again, stronger, and now they know we're not afraid." As the human fleet regrouped, Mason approached her. "Commander, the artifact signal." "It's changed. It's spreading faster now, reaching systems far beyond this region." Sarah turned to him. "What does that mean?" He looked uneasy. "It's calling something or someone." Her stomach turned cold. "Prepare a full analysis. I want every line of data decrypted." Admiral Cole appeared again on the screen. "Well done, Commander. The galaxy has seen what humanity can do. The Xylar are retreating, but this isn't over. Stay alert. That artifact might be the key to everything, or the reason this war started in the first place." Sarah nodded. "Understood, Admiral. Humanity is ready for whatever comes next." As the fleet turned for home, the stars outside flickered strangely, like they were alive. The artifact's distant pulse echoed once more through the void, vibrating in every human ship. Sarah looked out at the glowing stars and whispered, "The universe dared to attack us. Now it will remember why it should never do it again." Behind her, the crew stood tall, silent and proud. The retaliation was complete. But far beyond the human borders, deep in the black unknown, something ancient had awakened, and it had heard the call of its children. The stars looked calm again. The human fleet floated in victory, their ships glowing softly against the distant light of broken enemy worlds. For the first time in many years, humanity felt powerful again, united, fearless, and awake. But deep inside every signal, inside every quiet pulse of the artifact, something was stirring. Commander Sarah Vega stood on the bridge of the Valiant. The ship was damaged but alive, its crew proud after the battle. "All fleets report success," said Lieutenant Ray. "The Xylar Dominion has pulled back from 5 sectors." Sarah nodded slowly. "They'll regroup soon." "They won't accept defeat easily," Ray hesitated. "Commander, there's more. The artifact signal, it's growing stronger. It's not just broadcasting anymore, it's answering something." Sarah frowned. "Answering what?" Before Ray could respond, the ship's lights flickered. A deep hum filled the air, soft but powerful, as if space itself was vibrating. The sound was everywhere. Inside the walls, the air, even their bones. "Energy surge detected," shouted Dr. Lin. "It's coming from the artifact data we stored. It's activating itself." The holographic projector on the bridge flickered, and suddenly the image of the artifact appeared again. Then it glowed bright blue, rotating slowly, symbols changing and rearranging until words formed across the screen. "The builders have heard the call." Everyone fell silent. Sarah stepped closer. "The builders?" she whispered. The hologram shifted, showing a map of the galaxy. Hundreds of lights began to glow, signals activating in every direction, spreading faster than light. It looked like stars waking up after endless sleep. Dr. Lin stared at the screen. "Those aren't just signals. Those are structures, ancient ones. They've been hidden for millennia. The artifact must have awakened them all." Mason's voice shook. Captain Holt was right. The artifact wasn't a weapon, it was a beacon. Sarah's heart pounded. Beacon for what? Before anyone could answer, a warning alarm blared. Multiple hyperspace rifts opening nearby. Ray shouted. On the main screen, space itself began to tear open. Blue lightning streaked across the void, and from it emerged enormous shapes. Massive ships unlike anything human or Xylar. Their surfaces shimmered like metal and stone mixed together. Each was silent, but radiated power older than any known civilization. "They're not Xylar," whispered Dr. Lin. "They're something else." The largest of the ships stopped a short distance from the Valiant. A beam of white light extended toward them, and suddenly a voice filled the bridge, not through speakers but inside their minds. "Children of Earth, you have awoken what was forgotten." Sarah froze. "Who are you?" "We are the builders, the first architects of this galaxy. You carry our blood, our code. Humanity was made from our design long before your history began." No one spoke. The air seemed to hum with power. Sarah felt the weight of the moment. Every human victory, every sacrifice, all leading to this. "What do you want from us?" she asked. The voice was calm, ancient, and heavy with meaning. "To remind you of who you are. You were not meant to be prey. You were meant to rise." As the voice faded, the ships of the builders began to spread across the stars. Their energy waves rippled through space, disabling Xylar fleets in distant systems without a single shot fired. Every alien empire felt the tremor of awakening. Admiral Cole's face appeared on the comm screen. "Commander Vega, are you seeing this?" "Yes, Admiral," Sarah replied quietly. "We didn't just win a battle. We started something far bigger." Cole's expression hardened. "Then we need to prepare. If these builders are real, the galaxy's balance just changed forever." Sarah turned back to the stars, and humanity stands in the center of it. Hours later, the Valiant cruised slowly through the silent void. The alien fortress they had destroyed was now nothing but drifting debris. Mason walked up beside her. "Do you think the builders will help us?" he asked. Sarah looked out the window, her eyes reflecting the faint blue glow of the stars. "Maybe, or maybe they're testing us. Either way, we'll stand our ground." A faint pulse echoed through space again, steady, rhythmic, alive. It was the same pulse from the artifact, but now it was everywhere. Humanity's ships across the galaxy could feel it too. It was not a warning, not a threat, just a reminder. Humanity was no longer a small species lost among the stars. They were heirs to something vast, something ancient and something powerful. Sarah smiled faintly. "Captain Holt once said the universe would regret attacking a human ship," she whispered. "Now the universe truly will." The camera drone outside the Valiant captured the last image. The human fleet surrounded by distant, glowing builder ships, stretching across the stars like a new dawn. And as the light grew brighter, one final message appeared across every human screen in silent words: "Humanity has awakened. The builders watch. The universe would never forget again."